with everybody, no matter who they are and no matter what they're saying about your page. And finally, this we set out, well, it was rather easier for us because we had the character created, but something that we say to a number of our clients about where they want to play. There are so many spaces that you can be in, and we've left this graph empty for a reason, because you can be absolutely anywhere on there. You can go in as a real person with fantastic brand utility, or as we've done, an advertising character with a really strong brand narrative. But you do need to know where you want to be on that graph, and you do need to make sure that you're consistent in what you're saying and doing, and having that consistency running through your campaign and making sure that that's working will really help to people to understand what your page, what your whole campaign is all about. And once they've got that understanding, it's much easier for them to spread it round and share with their friends and their communities what this page is about, what you're trying to say. And finally, just to touch briefly on results. Now, obviously, I would love to say that Facebook could be the sole attributor to all of these results. And one of the difficulties that we have had is this was created out of the one agency as a totally holistic campaign. And so it is very, very difficult to pull out the different threads and the results that they will achieve. We're working with the IAB at the moment to do a significant study on what impact Facebook and social media has had on people going to Compare the Meerkat and their impressions of the brand, etc., to really get some more detail on that study. But just some overall results for Compare the Market. Month on month, they keep exceeding their best months ever. Quote figures have increased by 80%. Cost per quote as opposed to cost per visit has reduced by 75%. For a car insurance aggregator, that is the perfect scenario. Market share has tripled. We're the most popular brand ambassador in the UK. And the site traffic to Compare the Market has gone up by over 100%. 5.7 million visitors to comparethemeerkat.com. On regular spikes, Compare the Meerkat will outperform Compare the Market. But the link between them is so strong and the results are so good, it doesn't matter, and they're not worried about that. And that means that we can maintain the important thing about it, which is this parallel world. The fact that just by talking about Compare the Meerkat, you inevitably associate with Compare the Market. And you don't need to do any more than that. Because car insurance is a one-off purchase, and car insurance aggregators are even more boring than car insurance, all you need to do is create some interest and develop something around that, so when your audience, when your community is ready to talk about and go into car insurance, you are still top of mind. And that's where Facebook fan pages, Twitter and the social community can make a huge difference, because you do still keep appearing. You are still in their feeds and you are still in their mind. If we turned off the telly now, there's no plans to do it for all of those who were sighing earlier, but if we turned off the telly now, it would be this that would remain and this that would carry on going. And that's what gives the longevity and the real impact to the campaign without continued paid-for media. That's it. Thank you very much.
Sure, there's going to be questions for us. I just want to kick off quickly. How do you manage the personality of Alex? Is it one person who is
it's
Alex,
quite tightly managed because there is a very defined tone of voice for him in terms of the way he speaks, in terms of the way he writes. It is actually the creative team who came up with him who writes all of his posts. We're able to get a couple of other people within the agency who we made sure were properly briefed and can do it well to respond to tweets, and responses to Facebook posts if required can be done by various other people. But the daily tweets and the weekly Facebook posts come from the creative team who write the ads and who produce everything else. So there is that consistency of tone and voice. And they have effectively written the novel on Alex. They will be able to tell you exactly how his life is, what his world is about, what he reads, why he loves Celine Dion, which concerts he's been to, and all of the other information, which really builds up that character. To be honest, for them, it's been an absolute dream. They normally get to write a script, and it gets on telly, and they're very happy with that. But they get to write an entire character profile and story that just keeps on going. Just lets their imagination fly.
I suppose it's kind of linked to the last question, really. With having all your different kind of creative team and then maybe other people within your agency that can manage the character, do you have like a central repository for all this backstory that you refer to keep everything consistent, or?
Because the key posts and key tweets are all done by the one creative team. The other people who are involved in it will either just be posting those and putting them up for the creative team or getting them approved by the client, whatever that is, so they know what the backstory is. And actually we outline that plot line for quite a considerable distance into the future and continue to weave in different strands. For example, Sergey, the IT guy who was brought in one of the most recent ads to fix the melting down servers, was talked about a number of times in previous posts from about 2 months in. So yeah, it's fairly consistent and fairly neatly controlled.
At the back.
Yeah. Hey, are there any plans to sort of spin him off in the future, separated from Compare the Market?
From separating from Compare the Market, as he is,
Totally spoiled.
in terms of spin-offs, yeah, there are all sorts of things being thought about in terms of merchandising and other bits and pieces. As I said, most of which are already there, delivered by entrepreneurs on eBay, but they're not quite the official ones. In terms of doing anything else, we have had a couple of calls for wondering whether Alex could promote another product. Unfortunately, Alex is the property of Compare the Market as opposed to the property of us, and much as we'd like to license him out to the highest bidder, that isn't unfortunately the way the model works.
Jerry Springer type show.
Yeah. We've also had I think the most amusing, we obviously had a lot of people contact us as the campaign took off with propositions for us as an agency to take to the client. The best of which I was just talking to a few people about earlier, was an email I got saying that this gentleman had a friend who had a petting zoo with meerkats in it, and he'd spoken to his friend and he was willing to put a smoking jacket on said petting zoo meerkat and film him 24/7 on a webcam. Were we interested in paying for this unique content? We contemplated whether to refer to the RSPCA or just ignore.